They often go they often go beyond the norm of developing specific and innovative solutions that larger organizations often overlook. So in order to leverage these innovative solutions, Carrier's innovation team, ICAR, has organized AirTalks, a reverse pitching session where members of the startup ecosystem gather to hear from Carrier's business function leaders. Yeah, right. Moving on. So, if you tell you a little bit about Carrier, we are a multinational corporation that manufactures heating, ventilation, and air conditioning solutions such as HVAC, refrigeration, and fire and security systems as well. We're a global leader in providing healthy, safe, sustainable, and intelligent buildings and cold chain solutions. Carrier's innovation team, ICAR, focuses on identifying innovative solutions amongst the startup ecosystem to collaborate and enable joint go-to-market strategies, and may even attract investment from Carrier's corporate venture arm. Our moderator for this session, Mr. Rabindra Apeti, also heads the innovation agenda at Carrier. I invite him to the platform to share more insights on the innovation and initiatives and the areas of collaborating with Carrier. Raman, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew, for that introduction, and welcome to everyone to the third AirTalk session. And I think for today, we have a digital solution for HVAC units. I think we also have a very interesting guest speaker with us. We'll be talking about more about some of the work Carrier is doing in this domain. And with that in mind, just to introduce, I think I'm Ravindra. I'm part of Digital Hub India, which is a digital arm of Carrier. It's a 200-strong digital team who is working across different domains, touching different digital platforms that Carrier is building to provide a very create a safe environment with very climate-focused agenda. And we are a market leader in that space. And over the next couple of minutes, you'll be hearing a lot more about some of the technologies, areas that we are investing in, and look to understand or provide or seek any questions you have in some of these areas which we are looking at. So Matthew, if you can go to the next slide. So broadly, Carrier as an organization is categorized into 4 buckets. The HVAC units, that the heat, ventilation, and air cooling. And the second is the cold chain business. And the third is the fire and security business. And across these 4 verticals, I think there are what you see on the right-hand side is some of the technologies or areas which we are investing in our digital products. So it could be video analytics, audio analytics, sensor tech, smart building technologies, Industry 4.0, digital twins, and digital manufacturing. And there's a lot of work that's happening on the analytics space that is quite interesting for us. And we as a company, 100-year-old company, we do have millions of devices on the field, and there's a lot of opportunities to connect these devices online and collect this data and mine this data field to generate new insights for our business. So that's a journey we've been going on, and you'll hear a lot about Abound, and which is our flagship product, which is a digital platform targeted for our smart building customers. And you also have Lynx Fleet, which is our a cold chain solution that is used to track the end-to-end visibility of our of different products in our containers, in our fleet trucks, etc., during the entire value chain. If you go to the next slide, Matthew. Yes, so coming back to the agenda of ICAR, the innovation at Carrier team is responsible for connecting with startups across different domains, like I highlighted. And this is our partnership model which we work with. So during the scouting phase is where one of us would connect with you to understand a little bit about what kind of product or a solution you're building as part of your startup, and we would love to understand if it is aligned to our core principles, is it solving some of our problems, opportunities which we are looking at from a digital front or on the engineering side of things. Then we do some kind of a validation phase where we identify with our stakeholders to understand some of these opportunities. And then we get into some kind of a scoping of that engagement through some strong MVPs that is built over the process. And then we evaluate these MVP with our sponsors to see if there's any opportunity for a scale up across the ecosystem. So these are not just limited to India market. So we are a global organization, and the opportunities are global in nature. So we work with stakeholders across the globe, identifying some of these opportunities and mapping that to some of our exciting disruptive startups that is evolving in this space. And so far, we've got about 10 startups which we've engaged over the last 10 months or so. So happy to share more on that over the course. Yeah, and who we are, I think we received a lot of accolades from the industry for the kind of work Digital Hub India is doing. And we're quite happy to say that the team is so talented and we are passionate about what we do in providing a very safe, clean air and focus on our sustainability goals to make Earth a better planet. So with that in mind, maybe I'll hand over to Matthew to introduce this guest, the speaker for today, Mr. Vinod.
Thank you, Ravan. So for this edition of AirTalks, we are connecting with Mr. Vinod Kumar Vasudevan. He's the director of the residential and light commercial HVAC and commercial HVAC solutions at Carrier. He joined Carrier in 2020 as the deputy chief product cybersecurity officer, prior to which he worked in multiple MNCs such as Honeywell and Bosch. We look forward to a fruitful discussion. Vinod?
We can't hear you.
Are you not able to hear me now?
Is it just me or is it?
We can hear you, Matthew.
Okay, great.
I'm able to hear Matthew. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for the confirmation. Vinod, once again, inviting you onto the stage so that we can get the conversation started. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Ravan. It's an honor to be part of this AirTalk session, and happy to share my experience. That would be something I will be looking forward today, and trying to really look at. I've worked on multiple areas. Now focusing more onto the HVACs and how do we really look at the digital solutions which are made for the HVAC industry. It's a quite interesting scope of work, and I will be very happy to really discuss this more.
Sure, I think thanks Vinod for joining us today, and I think the first question I want to ask you is, I think just tell us a little about yourself at Carrier. What's been the last few years, and what is some of the Carrier goals which we are looking at on sustainability and how it is linked to the HVAC digital solutions as a whole. Maybe we can start off with that. So it'll benefit the context setting for our friends who have joined us today.
Definitely. So when I joined Carrier in 2020 during the COVID period, where it was really difficult in terms of the movements and all those. So I joined towards mid of 2020. Carrier was a different proportion altogether because I've been working more very closely to the product companies, whether it is Bosch or Honeywell. And Honeywell was again more with respect to the building technology solution. Carrier also comes more similar towards the building technologies, where HVAC is one of the key aspect. And when you talk about Carrier as a brand has been in the industry for more than 100 years. But Carrier Corporation, if you look at it, it's a conglomerate of multiple companies together, multiple brands together, and then form as a single particular company. So that really created a lot of interest. At the same time, the way Carrier wanted to really look at digitally enabled lifecycle solutions for its customers. So that made a a lot of promising to really be part of this particular company and then be part of this overall growth. Currently, the focus is more onto the HVAC and how do we build digital solutions to HVAC. The coverage is across all the 3 regions, whether it is North America, APAC, or Europe. The more focus, so if you look at HVAC industry in Career, it has been moved into 3 different segments. One is your commercial HVAC, which is more focusing on to your smart cities, kind of malls, airports, larger buildings, right? Commercial buildings, where your HVAC, your chiller units are like more than 50-ton ACs, which are really required. That is where your commercial HVAC business really lies. Your residential is where your homes. For example, if you look at the countries where you have a lot of cold climate, then you need a heating equipment. And the countries where you have a lot of heat and humid, then you need a colder part of it. So HVAC is again your heating, ventilation, and cooling, air conditioning systems, right? So that is your residential market. More of North America and Europe really fits in a bigger aspect over there. Finally, the new one is the global comfort solutions. This is where we are more focusing towards Asia Pacific, Europe as a market. The recent acquisition from Carrier, which is Toshiba, Carrier, as well as Wiesmann, they more focus with respect to the solutions which are more cost effective. At the same time, they are really focusing on the residential aspect as well as the commercial aspect towards it.
Yeah, I think, thanks, Vinod, for that detailed overview of the products portfolio itself. And maybe can you throw some light on some of the IoT use cases which we are deploying or which we have in our roadmap that is interesting for partners? Yeah, what could be those use cases we're looking at that will be interesting for to hear it out?
Yeah. So before we move on to the use cases, right, because a lot of people don't really understand when the HVAC as an industry which came in, right? The first electric furnace which came in 1861. I mean, some of us might not even believe that 1861 something really was invented at time. And now, when you look at it, 1861 and now, we have come a very long way. The way the HVAC industry has been revolutionized in multiple aspects. The total market for HVAC is close to around 277 billion by 2025. And if you look at India alone, is like it was around 7.8 billion at the start of 2020, and we are looking at close to around 30 billion by 2030. So this is the kind of massive change which the HVAC industry is bringing in. Carrier, if you look at it more as a brand, it is more focused in terms of bringing the nice part, which is more towards a healthy, safe, sustainable, and intelligent world, right? So any particular solutions which are focusing on health, then safety and sustainable, because when you look at any building, 40% of energy is utilized as part of HVAC. So HVAC really consumes that much. And when you talk about global warming, when you talk about being part of the environment, it is always important to really look at how Carrier is able to make certain products, solutions, which are not even looking at only the net zero in terms of carbon footprint, but also be positive towards it. So give back to the environment, try to be more positive over there. For us, the focus is more bigger onto the sustainability and also bring in intelligent solutions which are safe. So when I look at IoT-based solutions, that is where we always look at one of the flagship particular product Abound, which is more of the platform which we are building from a digital side of it, trying to bring in all products, because when you look at HVAC system, it is more of mechanical. That is how it is more looked at. Now, it's a long way. Now it's AI and a lot of other technologies are coming into the picture. We are trying to connect the sensors and then trying to bring in an AI layer towards it. So Abound as a platform which helps you to really collect all these particular data into the centralized repository and then try to really process it from there. So I'll stop here. Maybe if there are other questions, then I will expand that more.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm also trying to understand a little bit on I think we are hearing a lot about AI and ML and IoT applications. Like maybe can you throw one or two examples of how we have deployed it in this space within Carrier?
Yeah, see, if you look at the general HVAC industry, right, it has completely shifted towards sustainability, more of comfort, right? That is one of the primary aspect which is coming up. Energy conversation, and energy conversation more with respect to the current climate impact. There are regulations on climate impact. If you go to Europe, there is a big regulations in terms of the climate impact and how the carbon footprint needs to be really looked at, how various particular, industries are really moving. If you look at the HVAC industry, right, I always connect that HVAC industry to the connected vehicles or to the autonomous vehicles part. If you look at how that industry is really going, you have a lot of resemblance towards the HVAC industry. Electrification is a big aspect over there. The same in the HVAC industry too. You're looking at how electrification can really come in. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? That is something which really defines a lot about the autonomous vehicles. And also in terms of the AI-driven, higher computation power. And then cloud being a commonality between all these things, right? When I look at whatever, if you look at a car, the inside air quality becomes a more important aspect today than a little earlier. When you look at a room, the same thing comes into the picture. So I have a lot of resemblance. I generally go because I also come from a lot of automotive background. I see a lot of resemblance out over there. So that is something which I really look at in terms of how the industry really goes and how the technologies are really working towards it. Carrier on the same line, it is more looking at various technologies, not only on AI and ML, but also on AR, VR, and also looking at in terms of how cybersecurity comes into the picture, because that is something whenever you're getting into connected world, right? This is becoming a bigger threat also. So these are some particular technology areas which we always look at. More closer, more comfort, how do you really give better mobile solutions? And those particular mobile solutions help you to have much better comfort in terms of data directly coming over. Energy efficiency. Now, how do you give that particular data? How do you collect data? So, and then how do you apply your AI intelligence onto that? Looking out your internal temperatures, looking out your external temperatures, right? So we are working on solutions, multiple solutions related to it. For example, when you look at the field technician, how to enable them, right? Looking at AR, VR over there, how much of information they can really collect before they start moving to a particular place. And if that is coming into picture, their round trips are reduced or even minimized. And also DIYs, like what are the DIYs which you can really give? Because today's consumers, if you look at it, they are much more knowledgeable than the earlier. You have a lot of information already available. The tool sets are available. So the more easier you make it to them and the easy tutorials you can give it to them, they are ready to really make a lot of impact. And also, we also look at what is the buying power, right? Who are the ones which are buying the HVAC systems? So which areas you are able to really make the smart solutions moving in? Today, if you look at it, the age group between 25 to 35, they are really moving on to the new HVAC smarter systems. And the people who are a little older, so they are also looking at in terms of for the comfort part and the safety part of it. So the entire industry is revolutionary. And I would say that, okay, the safety, health, and comfort becomes very, very key aspects, even in terms of the buying part of it. So the underlining part is when you look at from a digital solution, right? You look at it also from who are your personas who are going to buy your solutions, going to use your solutions, and how easy or how tech friendly you can really make it.
Yeah, I think thanks, Vinod. I think you really touched on the customer personas. So maybe taking a little leverage from there. So I think for HVAC systems, we have commercial, we have residential. So what are some of the challenges or needs of a residential customer? What is he currently looking at, and what are some of the areas for us to bring these capabilities to them? And similarly, on the commercial side, I think we do have Abound and platforms like these, but then maybe you can touch a little bit on these two customer segments, and what are these one or two priorities each of them would really love to have in the next decade or next 5 years or so. What are some of these? Do you see a change in their priorities changing maybe 10 years back to what it is today?
Oh, there's a lot of change, right? 10 years before, you need a proper, heating and cooling system. That was the industry demand, right? And if in case it is coming with a good star rating, that really works out well. Today, it is completely changed. It is, the energy efficiency is a byproduct. It is already given, and you have regulations now which needs to be really looked at. Recently, we had a few discussions with one of our Japanese teams. And there, as part of Japanese government, there is a regulation that every year, field technician has to really go and look at the refrigerant leak, right? It is a mandatory regulation. And what they have really done is they have used technology, and they have brought in AI to really bring in terms of how this entire leak detection can be really done. And that is proven back, so that you don't have a technician going only for checking this, but this is as part of your internal diagnostics, and it gives you the details back. So this is the amount of technology which comes into play on your day-to-day activities. When you look at residential as a market, is the bigger focus goes to maybe a North America as well as to Europe, because of the climatic conditions, because they need the heating as well as the cooling, right? Compared to certain other countries where the cooling is only mandatory there because it's hot and humid. So here, the look and feel, the user experience itself, that is a big change. If you go to the CES, which happens every year for the innovative products, you can see a sea of change in the last decade with the way how a control unit used to look 10 years before, maybe in 2010, 2012, and how it looks now. That's a big change of user experience which has come into the picture. It's not always about features, because many times we all know, right? There will be like 100 features, but we will be only using 3 or 4. Let's take the mobile industry, right? Hardly, we might use only few particular features, but there are like so many features. So the more focus is about how do you make it attractive? How do you get it more closer to people? And also make sure that it is something which is very easy to use, irrespective of the age. So those are some things which we are more focusing from a residential market, right? Because the buying power is much more higher. On a commercial side, it is basically going to be a year-on-year business. So you start getting into a business, into a new contract, and then every year the contract gets expanded there. Now there, the focus is more about how do you give a lot of return of investment for your customer. How do you really bring in more energy efficiency data? How do you really apply more proactive maintenance schedules for them, so that the parts or whatever the components which are available, right, they don't go for a repair, but you're able to predict their performances and really make a replacement much faster, because that is well appreciated there. And as we talk, right, every company in this industry are really revolutionizing. When we talk about Abound is for entire buildings. And when we talk about Abound, it is not only for a residential or a commercial, it is for the entire building system. So however, you're able to pull all those data inside and look at as a building as a whole. And Abound is something which is always going to help in your net zero carbon footprint also. So try to pull all this information, how that 40%, which is really going off a building from HVAC as an energy efficiency, right? How do you really improvise that? How do you really make much more better digital solutions towards it? Connectivity, bringing those products, connecting those products together, using those sensor data, whether it is climate, whether it is user occupancy. So if you look at recent innovation activities, right, through Career Ventures is another, which is always looking at in terms of where to really put those particular good amount of money there, right? We have recently done two startups both the startups are working towards the digital abound solution. One is Archeologic, which is more looking at in terms of occupancy, the interiors of the building, and how to send that particular data back to Abound. And another one is the Butler, which is more of a thermal sensing, wellness of inside employees or whoever stays, right? And how to give that particular data, because these are something when we as a company start building this will take a lot of time. And this is where you always reach out to the startup world. You always reach out to the technology companies who are really pioneering some of these activities, work along with them, and then try to really engage that into your solutions. So these two something I wanted to really talk from a digital standpoint, which are startup world and which we are really working along with them.
Yeah, I think thanks, Vinod, for bringing that up. So I think as Vinod was referring to, then Carrier Ventures is one of our corporate funds, which has made almost 6 to 7 investments in the last 1 year, and we are aggressively looking at companies that are helping us with asset connectivity, with indoor sensing, as well as identifying the air qualities data and leveraging this data for energy optimization in these buildings. So if you are one of them, I think if you already connected with us, I think, or else you can reach out to us. We would love to understand more about your technology, understand what kind of use cases you have deployed, and what kind of energy saving optimization models which we can leverage and work with in this evolving industry. And for those of you on the call, I've also put in a link of a recent case study which we did with DLF in India. I think it was a very interesting project where we have done an entire optimization for a DLF the office in Gurgaon that resulted in almost 50% savings in energy over a period of 3 years. So if you see, I think if you take that one example, and then that shows the amount of impact we can create in terms of optimizing our machines and also bringing connectivity of these devices and predictive monitoring and things like that. So I think one final question before we go into the into the Q&A from the participants. So yeah, can you throw some light on equipment diagnostics and remote monitoring capabilities for Carrier today, and how do we envision that, and what are some of these opportunities which maybe startups like who joined the call could take in and leverage?
Okay. So again, I will try to really go to the automotive industry, right, onto the connected vehicles. When we talk about remote diagnostics, that is one particular place which it all started off. Because how do you really push an embedded software over the air? It starts from there, right? How do you really push an embedded software or a firmware over the air, and not really somebody going and really updating that? So when we look at these two industries, right, it started off first in the automotive industry, where they really piloted few of those actions. And when we look at in the HVAC side earlier, it was something like a field technician takes a kind of a device along with them, then an USB or something else, which generally connects to the chiller or to an HVAC system, and then starts updating your. So those days are all gone. Still, maybe certain particular chiller areas we are still doing it because we are in the stage of moving them towards a smart solution. This is something which is changing, right? And every unit in Carrier which is working on to the HVAC products, they're all trying to really look at what are the various ways where we can really move much more faster onto the remote diagnostics. So today we are working in line along with Abound, because I'm generally trying to bring in more of Abound, because any solutions, whatever we build separately, right, this we are trying to really move towards the Abound as a platform, so that you are able to really channelize. It's a single pane of glass, which will be for Carrier. I think similarly, other competitors also have similar kind of platforms. So our, always interesting aspect is in the next few years, make more solutions available as part of Abound, and make sure that remote sensing capabilities and remote diagnostic capabilities are happening through this particular platform. And this is again, how do you really monetize that? That is another aspect. How do you really make more I mean, efficiency related decisions, right? For customer as well as along with the customer. That is also another aspect. And in today's residential market, if you look at it, I mean, apps are ruling, right? And how can you really do diagnostics? If I take a computer, let's take an Apple Mac, and if you have certain issues over there, it doesn't self-diagnostics onto its own. So how are we able to really look at HVAC industry to do a self-diagnostic, self-clean, right? For example, one of again, I'm going back to the Carrier Ventures. So one of the recent startup, what they had a solution is in terms of not really using a refrigerant. So it is going to use the air which is available across to cool the system. And when it is getting hot, it is going to use the same heat back into the system to really make the cleaning mechanisms. So this is something, again, it is more sustainable solution. At the same time, it is really looking at in terms of how do you think out of the box, right? I mean, always you think that, okay, I need a certain set of components and only then I can really run. If you take the electric vehicles, the entire chassis, everything is gone in the vehicle, right? It is more of softwares now and a battery, which really runs. And we are talking about hydrogen and all those other stuff. Industry is changing, HVAC is also changing, electrification and various other mechanisms which will make the world clean and healthier. That is something which Carrier also works along. On this note, I will stop here. Maybe I will take a few more questions, Ravin.
Yeah, sure. I think I do have a couple of questions that were pinged to me, but if anybody wants to have a specific question, please reach out. Please ask. We are more than, you can directly ask that question to Vinod or myself.
I hope we are audible and we are not talking to each other.
Yeah. I think one question I received on my chat was, so Carrier has its own IoT platform, or are you looking at partners that give analytics as we are a data aggregator company?
Okay, so see, if I take any company, not only Carrier, any company, I mean, nobody can develop a solution all alone. Today is a situation where everybody needs partnership, everybody looks for partnership, and there are a lot of solutions available. So if somebody is working on certain solution which is very novel or which really has a good, I mean, attachment to what Carrier really believes, right, and really wants to really take forward, we are happy to really look. Don't want to dismiss anyone in that particular part. It's more about looking at what solutions are available and what kind of technologies are really used there, and how it matters towards what Carrier is really looking at. Again, I try to pounce upon on one thing. Life cycle solutions is where Carrier is more looking at, which really caters towards the healthy, safe, and which sustainable solutions, right? These are the key aspects which really comes in. So anything which really ticks all these particular marks, happy to really look at that particular solution. And if in case it really works good, definitely, we will have a working relationship together.
Got it. And the other solution is we are an energy monitoring company based out of Pune. How can I connect with Carrier, and is there a process which I can reach out?
I think, Ravin, you should take this question
yeah,
because
yeah.
Ravin
I
has
think,
been doing a lot of work on innovation, and please reach out to Ravin. He's the single point of contact for all our BUs in digital work. So he will be the right person to really look at the work and then try to really bring in who should be the right contact to really discuss internally.
yeah, I think I'm also dropping an email address for all of you guys. So I think if you're a startup or if you're a partner with something relevant solutions that Vinod was referring to or earlier, or I was talking in the start of the conversation, I think we would love to hear more from you. You can drop us that email at reachiCard@carrier.com, and then we'll set up some time with you just to understand your value proposition, and then we can accordingly bring in the right folks for further validation of your solution within our ecosystem and see if there's an opportunity there. And yeah. Yeah, I think we have a question from Rohit. Rohit, are you on the call? You want to ask?
Yeah, my connectivity isn't good, but that was my question.
Sure.
Like, yeah, around the bomb. So
Yeah, I think Rohit was referring to what is the current status of Abound and how is it working currently and what is a way forward?
Yeah, see, when we are building platforms, right, we have to give a good amount of time. It is not going to be something which is like do something in 3 months and then something comes out. But I mean, our practice in Career is into the agile way. And the first release of Abound, which happened towards May, April timeframe this year, there are a few set of services already released as part of it. There will be another release which will happen later part of this year. So it is going to have a regular kind of an iterative update and a version releases onto Abound. And there are already 4 or 5 projects which are connected towards Abound solutions, which is more internal. The focus currently is more onto the North America market because that is much where there is a larger amount of business which really lies. As well as when we talk about the connected world, we also need a lot of connectivity and the chillers, or when I talk about the other devices which are connected towards the Abound. So that is where we are here. Maybe if I look at 2 to 3 years down the line, Abound would be much more better solutions than today with more microservices. The idea itself is how do we reduce the overall development time also, because Abound as a platform is not only focused just about the output part of it, but also how do we really fast track your overall development and how these product lines, whatever, because if you take a chiller, or if you take a kind of an air conditioning system, these are hardwares, right? Now, what are we trying to really look at an hardware system? So from there, how do you pull that particular data, bring it to a common particular place, make sure that we are able to really take that particular data in a manner that it is really moving particular thing forward. That is what is more looked at from Abound. Abound will mature as it really goes. So it's a continuous process which we currently see.
And I think the last question I have on my list is, I think you spoke a lot about Vinod. You spoke a lot about sustainability, and we are a carbon credit platform marketplace. So does Carrier also engage in buying carbon credits? Can you throw
Yes,
some light on that?
Maybe, I mean, carbon credits, I might not be able to really talk much, but I can always take this question back. But there is a separate team on sustainability, which really looks after whatever solutions we should do. So if you look at Carrier website, we talk about what is our sustainability ESG goals. And as part of 2030, we wanted to be net neutral there. And if in case there is a solution which really supports in terms of, net profit, we will be happy to really have a discussion and understand what kind of solution that is and how it really embeds into what Carrier wants to do from a sustainable solution part. So happy to get that details and then work along to see whether there is a fitment to what we are currently doing in the sustainability side.
Thanks, Vinod, for that. So I think I don't have any further question, but anybody on the bridge, if they have a question, please. I think we have a couple of minutes more. We can answer those questions if you have any.
And also, Praveen, another thing, if there could be few startups which are more focused on the India market, Asia Pacific market, there's a big change coming up for the next few years. And we are trying to really look at how different digital solutions, connectivity solutions for this kind of a market, because the North America market can be a little different when we look at from an Asia Pacific market, right? Because cooling, heating might not be a major requirement. If you look at, it's all hot and humid particular countries to a major aspect. And the technological aspect in terms of how do you really look at out of the box solutions for a better heating, better cooling solutions, and how do you really look at air quality, better air quality, right? And those are some things which we will be really keen to look forward for the India market. And the buying power in India is also changing. The way people are really look at it in terms of air purifiers, trying to really look in that to post-COVID era, right? There's a lot of, lot of emphasis in terms of having the right air, because that is, if you follow wrong, unhealthy air, that itself is creating a lot of health hazards. So it is important to really look at, understand what kind of air you're really sensing and taking in, and how do you make, because air has also become a new business altogether. Sadly, that is also true. And for us, it is more important that we are able to really make sure that we are trying to do whatever support, which through technology we can really do, through products which we can do in this particular space.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think we do have a strong portfolio, which we are seeing in the air quality, air purifier, as well as linking this data coming out of this air quality sensors and air purifier data to really maintain the temperature and and do air purification in different zones of your building. So I think there's a lot of work that's happening, and there's a lot of hardware engineering that's happening at the back end as well. And these different data points that we collect from indoor air, outdoor air, all of these could play a very significant role in how we use our HVAC systems in the future. So I think, like we know this point alluding to, I think that there's a lot more changes that are happening from the HVAC digital strategy standpoint, and we are very open to work with partners working in a similar space to look at opportunities of collaboration to bring some of these solutions and work to our end customers through our startup engagement model. So I think, yeah, with that, maybe I want to thank Vinod for your time from your schedule to really come and talk to us. And I think, yeah, this is very insightful in terms of understanding where our roadmap is about the HVAC systems, as well as understanding what are some of the technologies that you as a team, your business unit is focusing on. And we'll definitely try to get some feedback from some of the startups who attended today, and also make some connections with the respective teams within Carrier to explore some of these synergies with them. But I think with that, thank you so much for your time, and everybody for joining. I know it's been almost 45 minutes, and I hope this session was useful, and it really enhanced your understanding of HVAC business and what kind of digital layer that HVAC companies are putting together. And I think Vinod was alluding to the automobile industry. I think that gives a lot of easy analogy for all of us to understand how we are seeing that disruption happening across. So maybe, your final thoughts, and then maybe we can close this call. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Ravin. It was so comfortable discussing with you. So thank you for that. And at the same time, I hope whatever which we discussed today was insightful for other. I can see some updates onto the chat. So nice to see that. When as an industry, this is changing big time. And when we talk about 2030, the entire whatever the technology which are used today could have a major change. There is a lot of regulations which are also coming in different sectors, right? Different regions. And aligning to those particular regulations also becomes a big key. So that is how this industry would go. And I'm always looking for very innovative solutions, as well as the right people who can be part of our team. So I also take this opportunity to really mention that it is always important. It's not just about building products. It's also about the right technology spaces. and being part of a larger team which has a very focused approach in terms of making the world better, making it more sustainable. And that is what me and my team over here is trying to really do.
Okay. Thank you, Vinod. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Praveen.
Thank
Bye.
you all.